like you have an axe to grind with your current financial professional? Yeah, I've heard that before from so many people when they come in to see us for the first time. You know, it really starts with the plan. And that's exactly what's missing. This is the big secret that Wall Street really doesn't want you to know. It's not about a number. It's not about your statement. Wall Street has tried to convince you, millions of Americans, that the financial statement they send you once a quarter, once a month if you're lucky, is a written retirement plan. It's not. That's not even close. It's a statement. In fact, if the markets have been open since you received your statement, which I'm certain they have, it's not even accurate. You say, what do you mean it's not accurate? Well, think about this. If the markets have been open since it was printed and mailed to you, it's changed. It may have gone up, it may have gone down. The reason so many people are frustrated with their big box retail financial planner, financial partner, is because they failed at the one thing that is so important to everyone when it comes to investing, an actual plan. You see, they told you just to give them your hard-earned money, and they talked to you about, oh, you're a moderate investor, you're a conservative investor, oh, you're definitely an aggressive investor. What do those terms even mean? If I asked you right now, as a moderate investor, how much during market volatility would you expect your portfolio to go down? And when you say go down, let's talk about what that really means. How much of your hard-earned dollars are you willing to lose? They never want to talk about it in terms like that. You have to quantify these numbers. You have to get rid of these, quote, Wall Street terms, conservative, moderate, aggressive. Or the famous boomer portfolio. Oh, you're a perfect candidate for that. They don't really call it a boomer portfolio, but I've affectionately called it that because we see 50, 60% of the people that come to visit us for the first time have got their money in a portfolio that's, quote, the boomer portfolio. What I mean by that is it's divided into 60-40. You've probably heard that term, a 60-40 portfolio. That's 60% equities, 40% income, bonds, things like that. And the equity side is where the growth comes from, but also more of the risk. And the bond side was supposed to be your safety. Well, how did that work out for you in 2022 when you saw bond portfolios almost crash at the same rate that the equity side was going down? And many people found during the 2008 financial crisis or the 2022 crisis, or maybe even during the pandemic, although it came back very quickly, that they lost way more than they planned on. Well, here's the idea. Here's the retirement 101, the investing 101 secrets. You have to take whatever type of a plan you're supposedly in, the boomer one, the conservative, the aggressive, whatever it is, and you need someone to back test it and tell you specifically how during previous market events your portfolio would have performed. So think about this. If they said to you at that first initial meeting, hey, we've got a perfect portfolio for you. It's our moderate portfolio. You said, great. How much money will I lose during certain market events? Well, they don't have a crystal ball to tell you how much you're going to lose in the future. But they could, if they would take the time to do it, say, well, this portfolio, if you put $100,000 in it, it would have lost this much money during this market event. Now they could do that for you. And instead of using the word moderate, what if they said, okay, this portfolio during the financial crisis of '08 would have taken your $100,000 and turned it into $65,000 for a 35% loss, or in this example, a $35,000 loss. That might work for some of you, and that might not work for others. But the term moderate might have meant you were okay with it, and then you found it lost more than you ever expected. So retirement and investing 101 starts with understanding your drawdown. The word drawdown is simply how much of my hard-earned money am I prepared to lose? And then we have to build a plan around that so that it doesn't ever exceed it. Nobody likes drawdown periods, but it's going to happen. It's part of investing. But let's take a step back. Investing 101. Before you start putting your hard-earned dollars in Wall Street, and I'm a Wall Street fan, you have to first have your emergency bucket fully funded. This is the money that's available to you, not in the market, that's sitting there in cash. And you say, well, I'm not making anything in this high inflationary environment. Well, if you're working with the right firm, you'll make all you want to make in the other money, but you must have a cash bucket. That's investing 101, a cash bucket that has your emergency fund fully funded. Number two, we have to now start building out a plan and a risk-adjusted plan, not using those crazy terms we talked about, but specifics. So let's say we know we're going to need money in 6 years for this, or for so-and-so to go to college, or little Susie, or whatever it is. Well, that needs to be risk-adjusted completely different than, let's say in this example, our Roth account that we're planning on spending until way later in retirement. What we see all too often is when we look at the investment statements that are given to us by our clients that are coming to see us, the people coming in, and what we find is they've got all their accounts invested the same way. Well, that's just crazy. You need to have money that's invested for the short term, money that's not invested at all, money that's invested for the short term, the moderate term, and our long-term accounts. And then we can adjust the risk on these different portfolios accordingly. So you might call yourself, well, Mark, I don't want to have big losses, but that means we're going to have really small losses, let's say on our short-term bucket during market volatility. And then we would adjust that to take a little bit bigger losses on our moderate bucket. Oh, there's that word again. On the bucket, we're taking a little bit more risk in, but our time horizon for the use of that money is longer. And then we have our long-term bucket. This is where we want our maximum amount of growth, and we're going to readjust it as we get closer to the time we might actually use the money. And when you put all this together in a written financial plan, what you find is you can actually weather the storms that come up in retirement, in life. So when you're in your 20s and 30s, you can find yourself being much more, oh, there's one of those words again, taking more risk with your dollars. And as you start to get older and you're in your 40s or 50s, that risk starts to come down. And now we're heading toward retirement, and we have to remove that risk and get it much more in line with where we find ourselves. And this sounds kind of basic, but it's missed by so many planners because all they're doing is putting the money into a portfolio and saying, hey, this will work out well for you. Is it going to work out well for you or for the advisor that's doing it for you in the terms of fees and commissions? You really have to address this kind of stuff, and it all needs to be done always in writing. So wrapping up this segment on Investing 101, emergency fund, risk-adjusted portfolios that you understand and quantify how much of your hard-earned dollars you're exposing to risk. Risk is perfectly okay as long as you're willing to take it. But first you have to know how much risk you're taking. You have to know that this bucket might lose you 10%, 15%. This bucket might lose 20 or 25 or maybe even more if you're younger. And it's perfectly okay to take that risk as long as you understand it. Investing 101 doesn't have to be hard, but it all starts with a written plan.